This video is on how to create user accounts in Studio Suite. Although Studio Suite works fine if there's just a single user at a small facility, it is designed as a multi-user application, so that means each user needs to have their own user account to store their unique security levels, preferences, permissions, and activity. User accounts need to be tied to a contact, so the best place to start is in Contacts. Let's go ahead and create a new contact for Carol Colorist. We'll go ahead and flag her as an employee, and we'll pretend that we've also filled out all the company, address, phone, email, URL, and title position fields. All we really need to do over on the right side of the screen is click Create User Account. Here we'll give the user an account name, Carol. We'll put in the password twice, and we'll select the privilege set. Studio Suite's 13 privilege sets essentially correspond to typical roles that people have at a typical production facility. By selecting a privilege set that best matches the role of this user, we automatically assign an appropriate level of functionality, feature visibility, and permissions to the user. Let's go ahead and select Editor Engineer for Carol Colorist. Once the account is created, we'll have the option of either staying in Contacts or proceeding into the user account. Let's go into the user account settings for Carol. So here we are in System Setup, User Accounts. We can see it's for Carol's account. It's linked to Carol Colorist with the privilege set of Editor Engineer. Here on the General tab, there are some important things. The first one here is Company. It's important to select the appropriate company if you have more than one. This will make it so that every record this user creates will be tied to the appropriate company. There are some password update options. Time zone has been inherited from the company. Some contact record, startup alert options, and also do you want to see the page setup dialog when printing, some various options there. Here is the email setup. This is where you'll put in all the various credentials required for this person to be able to send an email out of Studio Suite. Here are some project-specific preferences. Whenever this user creates a new project, you can specify a certain type that goes along with that, or a status that goes along as well. And then there's some other preferences. The Calendar tab gives just a couple options. The most important tab here is Account Permissions. You can see by selecting the Editor Engineer privilege set, many of the permissions are enabled and many are disabled. The blue ones are on, the white ones are off. To enable a permission, I just click on it. Now, if you have a lot of employees and you've got a complicated set of permissions that you need to update, once you've defined one user's permissions, you can copy them, which is this list here, go to any other user in the system, and hit paste, and you will have applied those permissions to the other user. The next tab is Manage Favorites, and this is where, apart from the actual permissions, a user can specify, for example, that they don't really want to see the barcodes module when they look at the module navigator. If we turn that back on again, we'll see that that has been added to the options there. Okay, we're almost done. A couple more things I want to point out. You can also get to user accounts from the home screen. Click the gear tool, go into Setup. From there, click on User Accounts. This is where an administrator would go to be able to manage all the different accounts. They could also create new accounts from here. It's just a little easier to do from the Contacts module. Another note is that users, lower level users, can also get into their user account by clicking here. This is their user account name. This is going to bring them into a more limited view where they can manage some of their preferences, for example, maybe project type defaults or something like that, or manage their favorites from here, but they're not able to get into their permissions. So this is a more limited view for a typical user to be able to get in there. Also, users can manage their favorites from the home screen as well. Down here in the bottom left, click Manage Favorites, and this is where they're able to turn certain modules on or off as needed without affecting their security. One final note, Studio Suite does work with Active Directory for those of you that are using that. We'll work with you on a custom basis to get that implemented. Well, thanks so much for watching this video on user accounts. If you have any questions, please send us an email at info@studiosuite.com or just give a ring, 800-450-5740 or 818-955-9550. Thanks for watching.